Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Duncan, and I'm doing this criminal justice issue speech. I chose prison operational problems. It seems like you're hearing all the time of things going on in there that really should be straightened out sooner or later, but I know that they are swamped with a lot of different issues. Number one is staffing shortages. This definitely can lead to more violence in the prison. It seems prisoners are locked in their cells for longer periods of time due to not enough staff to oversee them if they're not out on the yard or in the TV recreational areas. It takes more personnel to handle them if not in their cells. But on the other hand, too long sitting in those cells can also cause high anxiety and stress levels, which in turn causes the persons to lash out at the personnel they do interact with. This also in turn can cause the personnel to react in a negative way, and then it becomes violent. Another issue is burnout. We also have personnel and officers who are experiencing burnout, and this turns to frustration and exhaustion, which in turn brings real attitude. Usually their attitudes spill out onto the inmates, but how they get spoken to or threatened by officers, even when they are being good inmates, it can really make a big difference. If an officer or personnel bites off the head of an inmate just because, you can definitely expect a reaction almost immediately because they're under stress being in there also. And then compliance with regulations. Administrators of the jails or the prison must keep up with the new or the latest rules and regulations that have been decided. If they don't stay in compliance, then they face legal consequences. And so they're under stress also to stay up to date and to keep the person and the jail running good and remaining calm. They try to keep it as smoothly as possible. It's not an easy job. The institutional infrastructure is another issue. Places of incarceration have challenges that they face when it comes to physical safety and security. They must deal not only with inmates acting out, but they also must handle staff misconduct. Contraband that comes in even through staff, yes it does, that always finds a way to make it into the prison or the jail. It seems there's always a way found. Keeping security cameras in place and operating correctly is another issue they have to do so that they have the evidence available if or when it is needed, especially when things become violent. We all know we need that camera. And then another issue is recruiting and retaining enough staff. Administrators also are having to balance that. Recruiting and retaining those who are really qualified to work in the system and who know how to respond correctly to the inmates. This is a very stressful time for all of them, even when one personnel cannot show up to work. Even with one gone, it creates havoc sometimes. If you're shorthanded or if one has an attitude and doesn't respond correctly to the inmates or even another co-worker, this can bring stress, and stress leads to anger, and sometimes anger will lead to violence. So with all of these issues that must be dealt with, aside from the normal daily routines and bad attitudes of those that are in there and wanting to be out, or personnel feelings running high, it is imperative that all remain calm and that they stay on point when it comes to how the personnel respond every single time. So it's very important that we think about the fact that the personnel are human, but so are the inmates. Thank you for listening.